Christian existentialism is a philosophy that cuts straight to the core of the Christian message of faith, hope, and love, and it presents Christianity in the most personal of ways, often discussing fun topics like anxiety, doubt, despair, absurdity, depression, and authenticity. It's about humanity, fully understood for who we are. Yet, the heart of this philosophy is the message that when you're presented with the incomprehensible width and weight of being, then, like Christ, embrace everything. That despite how little you understand existence, you must have what Paul Tillich called the courage to accept oneself as accepted in spite of being unacceptable. The list of Christian existentialists is not canon. The philosophy is broadly based around the works of figures like Augustine, Pascal, Kierkegaard, Dostoevsky, Leo Tolstoy, Karl Jaspers, Paul Tillich, and many more. It's a wide list of equally broad intellectuals whose contributions range from politics to mathematics, literature, and psychology. But there's no formal school of thought called Christian Existentialism, and that's really no coincidence. Tolstoy once wrote that if there are as many minds as there are heads, then there are as many kinds of love as there are hearts. Christian existentialism is the realization that there are as many Christianities as there are Christians. That Christianity doesn't exist in creeds or rituals, but it exists in the ways that people authentically live out being Christ-like. And authenticity means living in a way that no one else can and no one else will. Embracing the opportunity that God gave you to live your life and not anyone else's. Talk nonsense, but talk your own nonsense, and I will kiss you for it. For to go wrong in one's own way is better than to go right in someone else's. In this way, the Christian existentialists were always critical of the church, because fundamentalist, organized religion seeks to refine, purify, and standardize a single form of Christianity. When the church heard Christ say that the way of true life is narrow, their solution was to force everyone into single file. But for the existentialists, you can't borrow anyone's answers, nor can you force your own on other people. That defeats authenticity. And you can't know life through these abstractions. You can only understand it through participation. You have to face your own absurdities, your anxiety, and your own despair, because no one is given the same path. In that way, life is analogous to art. You can be inspired by the works of other artists, but to copy them would be to miss the whole point of creativity. There's a concept in existentialism called thrownness, and it's a fancy philosophical word to describe how we are randomly, arbitrarily thrown into life. We could have been born at any moment in history, in any culture, to any family, and to any gender, and yet we were just so apparently thrown into a specific time, place, and body with no explanations. How we were born and the things that happened to us feel completely arbitrary, and this is what existentialists call absurdity. Yet, how we live the remainder of our lives is completely within our freedom, and this is what existentialists call anxiety. These are the themes that you can constantly find while reading the works of the Christian existentialists as they write about the full forces of suffering. Go through their biographies and you'll find a lot of sickness, war, and death. And the problems of evil and pain are questions that they constantly explore. They write that we barely understand life. It's too wide for us to fully comprehend from our narrow, arbitrary, finite existence. Yet, we have to live through it. To borrow Milan Kunderat's writing, there is no means of testing which decision is better because there is no basis for comparison. We live everything as it comes without warning, like an actor going on cold. And what can life be worth if the first rehearsal for life is life itself? That is why life is always like a sketch. No, sketch is not quite the word, because a sketch is an outline of something, the groundwork for a picture, whereas the sketch that is our life is a sketch for nothing, an outline with no picture. And so, when faced with absurdity and anxiety, humanity has roughly three choices. You can reject existence, call life meaningless, and declare that being is not worth it. This is the nihilistic approach. Or you can declare that humanity is intelligent enough to theorize about life and become like the theologians and philosophers who create abstractions out of God, love, and people. Or you can admit that you have absolutely no idea what life is about. You can never comprehend the ways of God, and yet have faith all the same that existence must be worth it, because you believe that life is not a problem to be solved, but like a relationship, it's a reality to be experienced. And it's this third way that requires pure faith, pure hope, and pure love. It's the path that embraces your life for what it is, and you can accept your arbitrary, finite life. Because according to Christianity, God has already accepted it. That doesn't mean that anxiety and absurdity will disappear. You will never get to the end of understanding humanity and being. You will always continue to wrestle with God. It also doesn't mean that you will no longer go through doubt, despair, depression, or dread. On the contrary, it means that you will go through all of it because you no longer find comfort in humanity's attempts at totalistic explanations. You won't be at home in group thinking that reduces life. You will reject all ideologies that provide simplistic answers, and all institutions will reject you, because you have the conviction that it's only by facing your individuality and not running away from it that you will fulfill the opportunity of the life that was given to you. And when you do so, you will become like a paradox to some people, like a three-dimensional object in a two-dimensional world, because you no longer want to love ideas of people or ideas of yourself or ideas of God. You'll want to love yourself and others for who they really are. Like Christ, you will stop categorizing people based on the labels of society, and you will love them for their arbitrary, random, spontaneous natures, because that's what's concrete and real. You will embody the love of Christ in an authentic way in your own path, embracing everything. Christian existentialism isn't necessarily opposed to theology. It's not even opposed to the church, generally speaking, though some thinkers will differ. The Christian existentialists come from different denominations over centuries of history. It's not so much a system of thought that unites Christian existentialism, but a system of priority. It reminds us that living and connecting are the ultimate concerns of Christianity, because life and connection are what Christ offered the world as what perfect humanity looks like, and we should settle for nothing less than being human.